Jack Ford Morgan is an independent board game creator working out of her home. Every month, she creates and releases at least 2 games made entirely from scratch. Jack immediately intrigued me, and I set out to create a documentary following her. But the more our crew delved into this project, the more we were swept up into the world of indie board game creation, and we fell in love with Jack's ability to bring people and communities together through board games.
I'm gonna do one of those ones where I sit down and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, totally. Wasn't expecting to sit down.
Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into board games?
So I always wanted to be a writer, and so I used to write heaps of stories and stuff like that, but they weren't very good. And my wife was an English teacher, and I asked her to have a look one day, and she was like, this isn't that good, but the ideas are cool. So she suggested I try making a board game out of the story that I was doing, and yeah, I did, and it turned out to be pretty good. Just seeing people and having a good time together, that's what's always motivated me, and using their imaginations and having fun with something that I've developed, I think is what I really enjoy.
So you set up Guildmaster as like a mentorship thing. What's that like, working with other creators?
It's awesome. I love it. So yeah, people just come to me with these games at just whatever stage they're at, and generally they've hit a point where it's tricky to know how to proceed. So some people needed assistance with how to get their games into the market and into stores, which is fun because I can just talk to them about their games and sort of what we just need to do promotions wise. And yeah, and then other people come at the very start of their journeys. So they've got like a little prototype, or the game is pretty much developed and they're just getting smart and want to know how to set up a Kickstarter page and things like that. The first one I made was a little game zine, sort of like one of these. It was just like pages and stuff like that. Making physical games is good because the kind of dopamine hits are really close together. It's really easy to finish something like quickly.
As Jack mentors other board game creators, she was the perfect candidate for aiding us in creating our own board game, Froglogs. And she encouraged us to further challenge ourselves and create the game within 72 hours. And that's exactly what we did. So what was our inspiration for Froglogs?
Froglogs was from a from a picture that you showed me, which was frogs being stacked, which was extremely cute. And I thought, I mean, yeah, like 8 times a day or whatever, I think that'll be a fun game. And yeah, so the inspiration was just the idea of stacking frogs. When you're designing it, you need sort of like elements of the idea, like what things are in there, like frogs and logs. You need mechanics, how do they interact, and what can the players do in the game. You need challenge and a win condition. So it was like, how do you stack frogs? And that led us to having these little guys, which you guys drew, which is extremely cute. So just in terms of the process, I guess. So that was the original inspiration, is wouldn't it be cute to have frogs all stacked on each other? But then one of the things during the play testing, when we're actually trying the idea, this is where inspiration comes in from just doing the process. It was like, well, this isn't really gonna work because you can't, like that's not gonna function. So that's where the log came in. It's this idea of having requirements for frog stacking, which is this sort of challenge, so that you can have a little frog, but then you can keep stacking them by introducing elements. Like if you want to stack a frog, it has to be in contact with, on its points, with 2 other points, whether it's the log or whether it's another frog.
We're having a launch party tomorrow. When you release a game, do you like celebrate it with a launch party usually?
Yes, and I like doing that because it brings the community together and it allows you to invite all your friends and family and then have a good time, which is what it's all about. Yeah. coming. We were trying to answer the question, can you make and release on Kickstarter a board game in 72 hours? And the answer is... unfortunately not, because Kickstarter takes 1 to 3 days to approve the campaign.
That is
but
true.
if it had just been us, it's success, so I think that counts.